beautiful day, everyone. My name is Charles Ramaseli. I'm really so honored to be here with every single person that has been able to make it to the call this evening or this particular day. I need you to really understand that everything about life, everything about your minutes, everything about the time that you're in is very, very crucial to your future, every single thing that you do. And so it becomes very critical for us to have times like this where we can really be able to share our minds, rub mind on certain issues and be able to come to that part where truly we can build foundations for the success that we desire and the success that we deserve. I am a certified international coach with the GEI, that's the Global Entrepreneurs Institute in Dover, Ohio, USA. And I'm so excited to also be able to have done so many things around, the country, around the continent, and even outside. And it's really come to that part where you want to be that person, that can give more value, out based on what you carry within. And so that's actually why this became very important. It became very necessary. I wish it can just be a one-on-one meeting with not less than 5 people or more, but it's going to be an honor to be able to have this live, and have people, be able to tune in and ensure that they make that journey to their place of greatness intentionally and deliberately. You see, I did drop a statistic today, I think on Instagram and on Facebook, that actually says, the building block of character, the building block of our lives, of everything we actually eventually become is actually built between age 0 and age 5. So it becomes very critical, not only for an adult like yourself, but it becomes very critical for every single parent to ensure that they're giving their children the necessary mental nourishment, because the world we live in right now, there's always a transition every 10 years, every 12 years, sorry. There's always a transition. Now, while we're still talking about, different things, happening in terms of development, a place like Norway, they're saying by 2025 that every single car in Norway will begin to run on electric. So that's actually to tell you the space and the pace at which certain people are beginning to, move to that place, that dream place that used to, when you say a dream, when you were a kid and you say something is a dream, you're looking at something, that is going to take the next 50 years. That's actually no definition of time. And because there is no definition of time, we now find it very difficult to actually have a definition of purpose also. So it becomes very important that you begin to understand the purpose of your gift and the gift of your purpose. So one of the most important things you want to do right now is that it's very simple. I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration, because I'm not going to pretend that every single thing you're going to hear today are things that you've not heard before. No. But one of the greatest discovery I made recently was I began to wonder why a lot of people, I began to wonder why a lot of people, they keep hearing words. And have you noticed something about a good speech? You listen, and the moment you are able to listen to them, listen to people, that impact you, there's this sense of motivation, there's this sense of drive. You just want to get out there and do something marvelous and something wonderful with your life. But there's always this dragging point. And what's the dragging point at the end of the day? Yes, they've taught you about the tips, the strategies, to succeed. And you just want to launch out there and do something mega with your life. But so in the place of, recollecting points in your mind, you get points that can help you. But when you want to move from that place where you've gotten new revelation, new information, you move to the place of, implementation that becomes a major problem. And a lot of us don't ask ourselves why. And this is actually the reason why a lot of Africans are where they are. And this is actually why a lot of people around the world also are where they are, because we are not able to make that defining moment, because there needs to be a bridge that takes you from the point of enjoying a conversation like this to a point of action where you can implement points that can transit you from where you are right now, cause a paradigm shift in your mind, to where you need to be. So that's the major question. So I'm not gonna pretend that you're all gonna listen to me right now and get it all. But I have made this very simple because it's just gonna be maybe about a 40 or less than a podcast that I believe is really gonna help you begin to understand how you can take the seeds of what you hear and transform them into the harvest of the action that can be productive in your life. And that's actually what Steve Covey will call, I think, the four laws of execution, and so many other people. So this is going to be a very simple thing. Sometimes I've noticed a lot of things. Let me first debunk a lot of things that we've heard. You say, someone say, okay, I was asking somebody, okay, what does it take to succeed? A younger guy, and he said, he read about Bill Gates. Bill Gates reads, is it 4 books in a week? Elon Musk reads about 2 books in a day, and all that. And I asked one simple question. I said, did you realize that those guys are doing what they are doing in terms of the reading books, not in their place of discovery, but in their place of relevance? In other words, they have come to that stage, and so it becomes very easy. So what am I trying to say? When you want to build foundations, the first things you want to consider is consider yourself. Every man is made up of three different levels. You have your spirit, you have your soul, and then you have the physical body. But what we try to do a lot of times at the end of the day is that we don't now find a convergence where we can actually allow, what the mind has learned to wire it into what the body can act out, and then also stay under the umbrella of what is spiritually, what's a spiritual allowance, or how do I put this word now? What's the spiritual advantage that you have? Because no matter how we talk about it, you need to understand that every successful person has a base physically, they have a base mentally, they have a base spiritually. Take it from me, there's nothing you can do about that. So it becomes very important. Now, when we talk about the spiritual aspect, a lot of people tend to go towards religion. Now, listen and listen good. If you say you were designed by a thing or by something or by a deity, you need to understand that the manual for existence, or the manual for living life purposefully, will be dependent on your understanding of your own creativity. It's very important. So we need to begin to shift and move away from that paradigm shift of a religious perspective into a lifestyle. In other words, you are an example. If I say an example, that would not be the right word I'm trying to say. You're an offspring of your creator. So there are certain things that you have within you that gives you the power to create things on your own level. But the reason why we don't become creative is that we have allowed certain things to, temper with our belief system. We allow color, we allow certain hindrances, what people say. In other words, you become a landlord in other people's impression about you, and you become a tenant in your own potentials. I'll repeat that again. You become a landlord in other people's opinions about you, and then you become a tenant in your own dreams. Do you know how many people daily they are looking at their dreams and still regretting for not getting close to it? Not because they are not wired with what will take them there, but because they have refused to understand, the missing link. And that's actually what I want to address today. And in addressing the missing link, I was going to give an example. What is the simple thing you can do right now? Don't bother yourself about too much writing, because I promise you, as a certified international coach that has spoken, around the world in different places, one of the things I've come to learn is that sometimes we give more priority to the parameters for growth, that we don't give attention to the vision of the goal, in other words. So you will begin to lose vision of where you're going to. Let's say, for example, somebody's running a 100-meter race, and then you get on the track, and rather than concentrate, everybody's on track, you have competitors. But rather than concentrate, you're looking whether the lace of your, the sneakers are well tight. You're looking like whether you're looking cool, or you just cannot do that when you have your dream. One of the first things you need to do is to be stubborn about your dream. So I'll give you a simple thing. All you just need to do, just a simple blank paper like this is very important. I want you to do this. This is what I do, because I believe that every single thing I've read, everything I've learned from people, I need to be able to localize or customize them in a way that suits me for my own growth. So what do? I divide this into two. Remember, there are what they call external factors of growth and internal factors of growth. Some people know it as SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. And this is what I do every single time. So I do this. I want to have this as where I can impute external factors from what I'm hearing. I want to put internal factors, everything that I'm not hearing, put it here. So the next thing you want to do is you want to divide this into four. This is what I do every single time. For some people that cannot afford to do this, what they do is they do something called mind mapping, which is actually very good. I'm giving the secret of successful people. So the moment you say, well, okay, so I do this. For me, it's because I'm training, so it might be a little bit rough, but yeah. You need to be able to simplify processes. So right now I have 4 papers in my hand. So this can be based on what I'm here right now. This could talk about strengths. You know, I could input my strengths here. I can find my weaknesses here. Okay, for example, I get a word and someone say, okay, oh, I give a point right now that, oh, you're not reading any book literature right now. So that's one of the reasons for your ability not to succeed as much as you want to. So what do you want to do? You want to find what particular quadrants of this would you want to put that in. Now that's a weakness, so you want to put it as a weakness, and then you want to put the weakness reason for now nobody's a failure, but you want to put maybe reason for temporary setbacks. I don't read books. And then you're able to put that here, and then you're able to put an action step. Okay, from what Charles has said right now, I need to at least be able to read something that can take me to another level. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So that is exactly what it takes to succeed. So this what you need right now is just 4 papers that I call personal quadrants. And the first thing you want to first of all do, I know before I go straight into what I have for you today, which I'm going to be talking basically about, you know, like I said, we're going to find the missing link to why it takes time for certain people to take that leap to the place of success like they want to. And so what you want to do, for example, is what are the strengths you have? Let's start from there. You see, I am a coach, and one of the most important things about my assignment and about everybody I try to reach out to is that I want to bring out the best in you. But often we're so concentrated, you know, we're so concentrated on how we can help every other person out, and we don't concentrate on ourselves. And then this happens especially to people like us, you know, that are coach. You read a book and then you get a point, and the next thing that comes to your mind, we want to quickly run to a platform, you know, tell people all the points. Now that is great, but let's talk about you today. Because it doesn't matter where you are right now. You could just be somewhere right now that's jobless. In other words, you don't have a job. Listen to me. Or you could be, you know, a CEO of a company. But I'm going to tell you how every single person can get that, because there's something called the X factor. Now I'm talking about the S factor, you know, the game being played in the US where, you know, a demonstration of giftings and all that. But I'm talking about the S factor, where you begin to find that uniqueness within you. And each and every one of us have an X factor that we need to find every now and then. Now let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Now the truth of the matter is that an X factor is the next big thing in your life. Now, if you're someone that's really accomplished quite a lot of things, you're a CEO, you know, you're somebody that's in the apex of your field, you're doing great things right now. Finding your S factor will now be, what is the next step I need to take? Because dreamers don't set goals and hit them. Dreamers that win are people that set goals and exceed their goals. So in other words, if you're at the level right now where your income, let's take for example, is $1 million US or $1 million naira, or, you know, $1 million rands or something, one of the next thing, your S factor will be, how can I double that effect? Because you know what, the moment you stay at where you are staying right now, there are a lot of people that I believe that has been divinely orchestrated to, you know, plug their lives from the relevance of your vision. In other words, every single time you don't get to that place, that apex that God has for you, do you know what happens? That just could be someone that just died. That person did not have any business dying, but because you are not going to that place where you may have been. Now, God is the source. We are all channels. You go to that place where you could have been a channel of blessing to that person, but you were not there. You were not there. So the X factor and your why for doing what you do goes beyond your dreams. It goes beyond your legacy. It goes beyond what you know about. So one of the most important things you want to do, if you're really going to build foundation for outstanding success, is that you want to every day be on a journey to a place of greatness. Greatness is never a place you attain. Greatness is a place that you are yet to know. So this is very important. So why am I starting with this? Maybe. So remember, let me just give you the assignment first, in case you don't get anything. The first thing I want you to go through, take the quadrant where you have your strength. I want you to write 10 things about yourself. It doesn't matter whether you're doing them now, or it doesn't matter whether you're planning to do them later. The most important thing that you want to do right now is to write down 10 things about yourself that you feel gives you your power, gives you your edge, gives you your relevance. In other words, each of those 10 things can become that X factor where people may never remember your name, but they can remember what you represent. That's your X factor. Listen, every single person that has found their X factor in life, they never had to, like Jim Rohn would say, success is not what you pursue, success is what you attract by the person that you are becoming. Remember, success is not what you pursue. No, success is not a push thing. Success is a pull thing. Now, the pulling takes less effort, but the pushing takes quite a lot. So you feel you need to do this. This person said, you have to climb 7 seas, and then, you have to scale through 7 seas. And some person said you have to climb the highest mountain. No, all those are methods. Now, there are what I call methods, and there are principle. Principle is what I'm teaching you right now. So you want to know it for yourself. And the world is so fast right now. We are in the jet age where there's so much speed, and not many people are going to have, no matter if they call you, if they are your mentors or if they're people you look up to, not many people actually have that time in our time and season right now to give you the utmost attention that you need. So you must learn to stand up for yourself. You see, the challenge with method, I'm going to use whatever I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be using stories so that you really understand, the intricacy of what I'm talking about. Why I say when I talk about methods and principles, they are two different things. For David and Goliath, for example, methods was that Saul knew at the end of the day, okay, that David would need to, put on the whole armor, and launch out there. As far as they're concerned, this is just a guy coming, he's a rookie. He's an amateur, he's just coming into the field to play, like every military, giant that's already there. So he's going to need protection. He's going to need every weapon that he needs. So what would they do? They will get him all the regalias, put in this breastplate, put on this. But guess what? All David needed was what he was already used to. In the words and time that we're in right now, we are used to handouts, people giving us everything that it takes. But do you know how important you are? Do you know how important you need to find the resource that you have? I have always been of this belief that the greatest resource on earth is not our natural resource. As I speak to you right now, it's been said that in a place like Zimbabwe and several African countries that there is still, if I remember the statistic, I think it's over 30, I can't remember now. Let me just be conservative, but I think it's maybe over $30 trillion of untapped wealth in certain countries, right? In other words, those are wealth that are natural resources, but they have still not been touched, they have not been utilized. But my belief is that the greatest thing that we have on earth, or the greatest thing of worth and value on wealth that we have on earth, are not our natural resources. They are our human potentials. Your human potentials. Right there within you is something that can power an entire nation, but you just may not know until you dig deep. So you're going to write down 10 things about yourself that you qualify as strengths. And you want to also be honest about it and write down also 10 things about yourself that are weaknesses, because everything you have as a weakness will always find a way to hinder, your level of growth in life. So, and then the most dangerous place you don't want to be in, I've been at that place as a leader where, everybody keeps telling you, my business was doing so well a couple of years ago, and then I got to this place where they were making, some good money, and then would even have to do corporate social responsibility to orphanage, buy stuff, train, I had my guys and staff do all that. But you know what, I now became afraid when I noticed something, and I noticed that, Charles, it's time to leave this thing behind and begin to rebirth. It's time for a rebirth. That's what I'm looking for. Do you know what I discovered? Now, when you are a little bit good, you're in a place where excellence is qualified at this level. And what now happens is that you have worked on yourself so hard, and then you're able to take your excellence to this level. Now, at this level, remember I talked about X factor. X factor is always what is ahead, it's always what is ahead of you. But because this is the symbol of excellence, guess what happened? Even at your place of mistake, you are healed. Even at your place where you're actually making terrible errors, you are healed. Even at a place where you are hungry not for fame, you're hungry for relationships, you are healed. Because as far as everybody is concerned, you've gotten to that apex of excellence. You've gotten to that place where everybody really begin to believe that no, you have what it takes. You're already sure you're already successful. And guess what happened? We now build a comfort zone around our last best. It was a particular CNN advert some years ago. That advert has actually impacted my life more than most books I've read. You know what the advert says? It said you don't win the gold. No, you don't win the silver. You lose the gold because gold is always higher. Gold is at this level, and you may just be coming from this level. You're going very well. You get to silver. You win the silver. You're respected in the whole world. You're globally recognized. But guess what? You did not win the silver. You lost the gold. And let me switch coins so you understand what I'm talking about. In other words, every single time you get to this apex and you stay in the place of celebration more than needed, what is happening is that you've lost your S factor. You've lost your S factor. So I believe I'm communicating. I really want to believe I really it's actually my heart desire to see that this actually gets to more Africans, you know, than any other race that's actually on this call. I can see people. Thank you for everyone that's joined all the way from the United States. People joining from everywhere. But I'm really going to be very happy if we can sing this information for ourselves, because it becomes very critical that we understand that we all carry the development that we're looking for. It's not in the hands of the government. It's in your own hands. You need to find your S factor, find your talents, find your strengths, and you need to translate that. And by the way, I know we're gonna keep this. We're gonna have this continue every Sunday, but I'm gonna be having special trainings for certain people on the week. Now, I don't believe I need to have everybody, because we also get to this place in our lives where some people feel that they are bigger than certain knowledge. You see, every single time you're too bigger, you're bigger than what you need to know for the next level or your S factor. You become smaller for your future. So, but if you are really in a race, now I'm not talking as somebody that's actually got into that place. No, I'm speaking as somebody that has been able to, put all the things together. I'm doing something. I have been studying for quite a number of years now on what I refer to as integrative psychotherapy. Helping to understand the theories like neurogenesis, understanding things like epigenesis, understanding things about how our mind is actually wired. I believe that there's always a connection between the mind, the brain. That we already know that through neurons, but the mind, the body, and then your spiritual inheritance and all of that. I am a solid believer in that. And so this actually becomes very important. So first of all, you need to understand that there are three things you need to be able to address very, very strongly in the times and season that we're in. Because this is what is going to shape in the lives of generation yet unborn. And it's also what's going to take you to that place of relevance. And that particular thing is how we handle our minds. Anybody that has actually known me through the years, you will notice that I try to, stay youthful. I try to stay, younger every now and then, because the most important thing is that as you get older, you're supposed to get younger in your mind. There's a statistics that actually says that if you're the average person out there, and let's take for example you're 40 years, you're 40 years. But by virtue of the damages within your system, within the mess you've created within your mind, the mess you've created within the environment of your psychosocial environment, you're 40 numerically, your biological, numerically, but biologically you're about 55 to 60 years old. Why? Because you've exposed yourself to certain things, certain thought lines, certain paradigms that are wrong. And why this was really very painful for someone like me growing up is because I grew up more in a neighborhood, where it was I believe, everybody actually grows up in such kind of scenario where you go to school, you go to several places, and you discover that people don't even have a direction for where they're going to. There's no direction. And the truth of the matter, just like I say, the building blocks for character, the building block for our personality is shaped from the age of 0 to 5. So what really happens when that what is really happening here? You need to understand that genetically, every person that's if you're a father right now, or if you're a mother and then you have children, genetically there are certain things about you that became part of the fetus or part of your child at the point of birth, neonatal capacity. There are certain things that they hold that are part of their birth. So that is already an environment that is built genetically before they come in. And of course, if you've done a little bit of genetics, you're going to know about genotypic properties. You're going to know about phenotypic properties. Your child will look like you. They will not look like someone else. So that is on one side. And then they now get into an environment where there's already a culture. So if your parents were not people that had the culture of time management, you're not people that have a culture of wealth management. Now let me explain wealth management, because this is actually where a lot of Africans actually make mistakes. So this is actually what happens, that money begins, your children are actually parented by the money you have, not by you. And that becomes a very dangerous thing when at the end of the day you have kids that know more about how rich their parents are than they know more about the systems that their parents build. So one day what happens when you exit, there's actually no succession plan. Why? Because all this while they've only just believed that they don't need to work hard for themselves. They don't need to be self-made millionaires. Their parents are already great and they want to move in that line. But not all of us actually had that privilege. Not everybody was actually born with a golden spoon. And mine, I don't know what kind of. I think my spoon may have been a broken wooden spoon. But where am I going to? One of the most important things, you need to get to that defining moment where you really understand that there is already an issue right now. You need to be able to address some of the generational things by reason of the cultures that you've learned. And the truth of the matter, the reason why success becomes impossible a lot of times, that you're trying to get something at this level, but what is holding you down is something you got at this level. So until there's a paradigm shift in your mind, you are not going to transcend to that new place where you're going to open up yourself for better things in life. So how do you really address these things? And that's actually where the assignment of adulthood actually begins. No, the assignment of adulthood is not putting food on the table. No, the assignment of adulthood is finding how you can rewire your mind. And I promise you, I don't want this to be, any of those talking section where at the end of the day you get somewhat good nuggets and then you don't get things that actually make you think. I want to believe that you've already gotten one thing, because I just told you something, right? You need to be on a journey to find your S factor. It doesn't matter what age you are in. There's the Colonel Sanders for the KFC. He started that at well above 50. So it doesn't matter the age that you are in. One of the most important thing in our life is discovery. One of the words that have actually made me go very far in life in everything I do. I have never been in a particular place, never in my life. I've never been a consultant that has been given maybe a consultancy job, or I've never worked for anywhere before where there would be no trait of excellence. I have never been that. And guess what? So a lot of times I now discover that, okay, I have this tendency of getting brighter than of my light shining so bright too much time, which could be trouble a lot of times. Guess what I try to? I try to shadow myself. So even when I tell myself I'm not going to be excellence driven, I'm just going to do things like how everybody's doing, it doesn't just work. Why? Because what you think about translates into what you act. And what you act actually translates what becomes habitual. And then what becomes habitual actually becomes your character. And then what becomes your character becomes your destiny. Sometimes you cannot do anything about destiny. So let me rewind back. So if in terms of characteristics now, or character, you have a lousy mindset, guess what is happening? You're going to have a lousy life, because you're going to act out the lousiness of your mind. And so because your action is also lousy, what happens? You begin to build habits around lousy things. And guess what happens? Your future comes to you, and guess what? You become empty. And that's actually where regret sets in. So it doesn't matter where you are right now. I made up my mind wherever I am going to step, wherever I'm going to be opportune to, have, wherever I'm going to step in, wherever I'm going to be opportune to deliver a service, I must give 120%. You must be excellence driven. It should become your trademark. Remember, we're talking about your S factor and how you must begin to stay on the line. Whatever you have till this point is good enough. It's not best. Your best is yet to come. That's actually where that word actually comes from. You are not your best right now. Your best is yet to come. So you need to walk towards that place of finding your best. So listen, in case you think being the best is about your geographical location, it's not true. One of the things I started doing long ago is that I learned early to build an environment in an environment. I learned that several years ago. Somebody say it doesn't matter, because remember, protect your focus. Your mind should not become like a house that doesn't have any fence. You must protect your focus. Sometimes some of the hindrance to growth right now for a lot of you may just be something as little as offenses. You're doing well, you're working so hard, you're hardworking, you're very smart, you have the executive presence, you have that charisma, you have that aura around you. But the only little seed that becomes a harvest of non-native, that becomes a harvest of unproductivity, is just a little thing called offense. And you know what we do? We lock that now in a religious thing, and we'll believe, oh no, God is not blessing me because I'm offended. No, it's not about God, it's about you. Listen, there's something called the principles of God, and that there's another thing they call the character of God, the different things. In other words, principles are universal. God is not going to come and help you act out the principles that you need to imbibe. And so we don't change, we transform. So it becomes very important for you to really understand that principles are key things. And Africa is actually where it is right now because of the loss of value. Several years ago, I was privileged to work with the like of I was privileged to work in partnership with Michael Mary in the NO8, I think the National Orientation Agency, where we had to begin to bring this thing through a company in the US that I eventually had to become a coach with, Global Priority in the United States. And they came and we trained quite a lot of paramilitary, trained quite a lot of people on ethics and value reorientation. Because that is the foundation for life. You need to build certain ethical fibers around what can help you to be excellence driven. That's actually why whatever I touch, I want to put it with sense of excellence. Even for a call like this, I could just come. Everybody's doing it. People get to do this live calls every now and then. But I had to be dressed up. Why? Because I'm not dressed up because I want to look good or because I want to look like any other person. I want to do that because I owe you. I am serving you. So I need to be my best. What matters is that there is an assignment that you've been called to deliver, and you must deliver with every sense of excellence. So remember, in finding your S factor, your present level is never your best level. There's always a best to come. And the only way you can attain that best is when you begin to work towards a place of understanding that the world is waiting for you to actually become excellence driven. So remember, in case you're just joining me, we talked about, I'll just be very brief about summarize some of the things. Listen, another mistake we make is that someone said information is power. No, I've always debunked that. Applied information is power, or applied knowledge is power. Remember, this is the theory. Information is what you take out, but knowledge is actually what you've been able to derive from the information that you can work with. And then wisdom is how you can put that to work for yourself. So this is very important. So like I said, I've simplified this thing. Now, for those people that were able to register, I have your emails. I'm going to send you some of these things. I'm going to send you some of these templates so that you can see the power behind this. Because I want to be able to honor people that are also able to honor, things like this. So it's very simple. All you just need, if you are used to mind mapping, that works. But if you just want to change your life, sometimes all it needs is just people like this. And what you do, you want to cut this into 4 quadrants. Now my belief is that when you work with things, you want to be able to, anything you read, anything you see work for someone else, you don't just want to use it at the level they work with it. You want to be able to find how to tune it to your own best understanding and how it's going to work for you. And so that's most important. So cut this, and I believe that there are external factors of growth, and I believe that there are internal factors of growth. And then every single time someone speaks like this, always remember there's something that you can trap in the external part and in the internal part. In the external part, you can trap things like opportunity. Hey, Charles is great. I want to speak like this guy. That's opportunity. So writing in within the opportunity, what do I need to do? Do I need to contact Charles? What do I need to do? Do I need to, find out what he knows? And then you have that as opportunity. And then Charles says something like, okay, one of the things that one of the things that's going to take to be great is that you're going to need to read a lot of books. And then that becomes, and then you discover you don't read books. What do? You trap that within the quadrant for weaknesses. And the moment you trap that within the quadrant of weaknesses, you want to put an action point. Always take action. Take massive action. Take massive action. Very important. Don't take action after you've listened to it. Take action at the point you listen to it, because that's another mistake a lot of people make. There's this book I have. I think you can get. I'm not too sure now, but I think you can get that on Amazon. But if you can't get that on Amazon, you can get that on my website, charles.com.ng. It's a book I wrote several years ago. And that book talks about why successful people succeed and why others fail. And I give about, I think if I remember, I give about 14 principles, 14 things, 14 habits, 14 things about outstanding people. And it's really going to be amazing how you can actually imbibe some of these little things and begin to work with them. So please trap all this in a paper. Your diary is good. I have a diary, so I'm not saying I don't write these things down. I have different diaries for different things. Today you can see everything I've actually written down today. These are things that live in the moment. Sometimes, let me give you something about your diary. A lot of times, you know what your diary is? Your diary is something that you're trapping a lot of words today that you will never use, and your future require those things. But your diary is something you want to have a regular conversation with. You want to be able to, I go back. You want to go back and see wherever there's no recollection, when there's information, there's never going to be transformation. I'll say that again. Wherever there's no recollection, when you are in the presence of information, you can never be transformed. Transformation becomes a very difficult thing. So please, that's the first thing you want to do. I don't want to care what level you are in. The most important thing is that you are on a journey to finding your S factor. That becomes the most important thing. And I can bet with you, if you stay with me, someone said that whatever you can do for 21 days, I was going to talk about that. Whatever you can do for 21 days consistently becomes a habit. So why not? You're trying to build habits around the big things. So take them in chunks, take them in little chunks, and try to build a habit around the little things. Someone giving to time management, give attention to that. At this point in my life, there are certain things I'm going to zero and give more attention to. And one of the things that actually is going to help you go very far in life is humility. Very, very important. I learned that from a millionaire. I have been around some top people. I don't want to mention names, and those are some of the things that have actually given me, some of the characteristics that I have. I can remember about over, I think, 12 years ago during youth service, that a particular man came to train us at the camp. And as at then, he was working with one of those Apex Bank in Nigeria. And as at then, I think his salary was 7 digits. So at the moment we heard that person was coming to town, everybody was like, wow, a real millionaire is coming. Everybody's trying adjusting. The moment that guy stepped down from the vehicle, he was like the simplest person I ever saw in life. And that was one of the first person I've ever knew at that time that was really that stickingly rich. And guess what? I was very privileged because he just took a lot of interest in me, and then we spent the night where he had to prepare his slides and so many things for the training the next day. And then we spent time together, and this guy was pouring, and he was pouring so much to me. But guess what? I wasn't thinking about what he was pouring about. Guess what? There was a paradigm shift in my mind. That's actually what I'm thinking. Be around the environment that can lead to an accelerated capacity of transformation. I'll say that again. Being in an environment that can lead to a rapid, accelerated transformation in your life. Guess what happened? He was doing that. I have never one day in my life been around somebody that made me feel special. But now seeing someone that was really a millionaire, remember, I'm talking about over 12 years ago, he was already 7 digits. And when I say 7 digits, he was really top as far as the banking is, I don't want to mention names. And guess what? The second one that happened was when I had just finished producing one of my books. I think it was not a book. It was one of my audio CD I produced. I think a couple of maybe 7, 8 years ago. And guess what? That was this person. You will know the person, but I'm not going to mention name. And this top person in government was playing my audio in their car. But in my mind, guess what? That's actually why never, every opportunity you have to be a blessing to the world, never waste that opportunity. It may not give you money. This is a free program. It's a free podcast. By the way, you can be free to donate, and you can be free to, give something afterwards. But I'm just letting you know that this is a free program. And guess what? That changed my mindset. So I can mention different type. I can remember also when from the United States, there was this couple of millionaires that actually came in. And so sometimes you find, what is that thing was that attractive factor? They call it the law of attraction. Now, the truth of the matter is that the reason why some of you never grow is that when you meet people that can be valuable in your life, or what in a religious perspective or in a Christian perspective we call destiny helpers, we're so quick to find their hand that we don't relate with their mind. And every person that's actually at this level, what they want is relationship that they can build, that can be genuine, that can be trusted. But the moment you begin to tend towards relating with their hands, guess what happened? You are now shifting your vision away from the most important thing about your life and shifting your vision into what another person has. So that has actually helped me through the years. So in short, I'm not going to say something before I mention certain names, that I have really been very privileged to hang around those people. So one thing I noticed around people that are truly, truly wealthy, people that are truly, truly valuable, they are like the most humble people on the face of the earth. Most humble. I remember when one of them, tell you to brag about certain things I've gone in this life, was when one of them actually brought me a personally autographed book from John C. Maxwell. Charles, this is your copy. I felt great. A personal copy. I could mention names of certain people I know right now that if I mention, you're going to think that maybe I'm lying. But the truth of the matter, the only reason why that was possible was because I kept my mind on the vision. And then things also happened. I spent about over 3 years on radio. And the reason they say the truth, that one of the things that could help other people transform their lives is when you're also able to relate your experience, relate your story. People can connect with that faster. So that's actually why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Now, over 3 years on radio, there were certain times I felt like giving up. Let me tell you the truth about that some people never heard. I was not paid one day. Every single time I went on air. Now, I was not a made person. Every single time I went on air for any single day. Now, let me give you some statistics. I was only just supposed to start one time, one particular day. I think it was a Friday. Because the program was so good, they increased it to 2 times in a day. So it was a Monday and then it was a Friday. At the time, they had to increase to 3. It had to be a Monday, a Friday, and a Wednesday. And the more they kept on giving me the opportunity. Why? Because I was hungry to pour out everything I had within. I never complained one day. There are times I have to drive there and I'm not sure of how I'm going to be living there. But because I know that there's an audience I've been called to, I am willing to do everything it takes to get there. But guess what? How things work. Later on, I got to know, okay, this person plays in this position, get fixed on my radio, this person, this CEO somewhere there. And the truth of the matter, even though at the end of the day, it may never has been financially beneficial like I would have wanted it to do, but the truth of the matter is that I was cutting across to over 100,000 people on a weekly level from the statistics I got. And that's massive. There's massive. So please, it becomes very important. So the last thing I want to talk about is that, remember, you've written these things down. Another thing you want to put on your weakness is association. Because if you look around you right now, if you, at the beginning of this year, you've not written down the 7 most closest people to you that can lead you for the next 7 years to a profitable future, then you're making a mistake. Every person, you must have people that are stretching you to go above where you are right now, and then you must also have people that you are pulling up. It becomes very important. The moment you are somebody in a place of relevance and then you're not having people you're pulling up, that's really very, very, that's a massive anomaly. And the moment also you are there and you don't also have people that are stretching your vision, you listen, I want to be around friends when I say, okay, Charles, as I am right now, Charles, peradventure, I say I want to do I want to get into a project of €1 million. I want to be around friends that can say, why not take it to 15 million? So at the end of the day, you're forced to stretch your mind. There's this plasticity that happens in your mind where at the end of the day, until there's a stretch, you cannot get to either your place of destiny. You can't get to either your place of greatness. So please, two things very important. Wherever you are, there are people you should reach out to that can take you to the next level, and there are people that you must also be pulling. Whenever there's a disconnect between this or between this, that's going to be a massive problem. There's going to be a massive problem. Please, you need to do a surgery on your associations. This is very good. Go and write down the seven most closest people to you. Now, there's a tendency in a place like Nigeria that we always see, or in a place like Africa, is that you get to this level. What now begins to happen? Everybody respects you, and then there's nobody that's actually helping you at this place. That's a very dangerous point you can ever be in life. In short, every single time I get to a place in my life and I discover that there's a mentor I'm following that doesn't seem to have a backbone or someone he's following, I cut off. I cut off immediately. That person is not going to take me nowhere, because the apex of below their X factor is actually where I'm going to get to. I want to be around somebody that is also running the race. You see, I told a friend years ago, and that exactly is what happened. I said, listen, I could help you, if I'm close to you, I could take your hands and I can walk with you to the road. But if I become so fast with my own race that I've gone very far, I can only look at you in my car, I can only look at the rear mirror and see you. It would be insanity for me to leave my destiny that I'm running towards and run back towards you. It's not going to work. So in other words, you must have that matching pace. You must also be, for people to lift you up, you have to be someone that's also liftable. It's very important. So remember, we're addressing some of the reasons why certain people never become relevant in life. Relevance is much more than anything in life. So don't just take this point I've heard. Remember, go do those things. If you've not gotten them, listen to this podcast again. And by the way, I may be able to, I may take them out, take them off, because I believe that value should be given to people that have respect for it. Make sure there are external factors for your personal growth, and there are internal factors. Internal factors are things you're going to do, talking about your ability to take your strength, maximize it, take your weaknesses and work towards it. And then you have opportunities also that are going to help you to become better. Opportunities, getting a job, opportunities, become more valuable somewhere else, opportunity, to bless people. There are so many opportunities. And then there are traits. What am I doing right now? A trait could be at the end of that's COVID right now. Now let me get deeper into another thing I was going to talk about. Now that's COVID right now, right? And then people are beginning to wonder, okay, people have not really come to that realistic definition of the fact that if this gets worse, a lot of businesses are actually not going to be able to operate. So you need to begin to move into the detail space. You need to understand how to have an online business. And that's actually what we're going to be teaching about. And so, as a matter of fact, if you follow me, I discovered that most of my Facebook, I have about 2 Facebook personal pages. I'm not even supposed to have that in the first place, but I have 2, and they have filled 5,000. I think one is about 4,000. Now it's been filled for like only God knows since when. It reduces, and then one is filled right now. So I know a lot of people are trying to still add me as friend. You cannot do that. Please get to my public page. It's still Charles E. Ermoseli, and I believe you'll be able to hook up with me on the public page, because I want to be able to be a blessing to many people. Then if you've not been seeing me online, don't ask me where have I been, where have you been, because I'm on Instagram. So get on my Instagram page. My Instagram page is Charles _Ermoseli. And so make sure you hook up with me. Now, if you do that, there are going to be training opportunities. Now, these are premium training opportunities. I'm going to be running a digital marketing training. I'm going to be running a neuro-linguistic programming training, because the truth of the matter, I was telling a high place person, I think that's a couple of days ago. I said the mistake you ever make with a child is that let me get into the door. Don't let me get into the door if you don't want me to wow the people at the other side of the door. Why? Because I've been able to understand, my spiritual advantage. I've been able to understand how to wire my mind for what the expectations of what I'm expected to especially deliver. And I'm also able to, like Joseph, you don't want to get to Potiphar looking horrible. You want to get to Potiphar looking your best. So for some of you that are close to me, thank you, Onyeka. I can see you on the call. Onyeka is someone that has actually worked with we've worked together for quite a long time. So these are people that have actually understood me and see the kind of person. Listen, I have always been this way. So I'm not doing it for anybody. I'm doing it for myself. You have to move with somebody. Remember, you have to work on your mind. I believe that you should dress on three levels. Dress physically, great, but there's no point me dressing physically as good as this, and then I'm naked in my mind. Doesn't make any point. So you must dress physically well, you must dress spiritual, you must dress physically well, and then understand your spiritual advantage. So it becomes very important that please you need to align yourself with certain discipline that can put you in a place where you become a blessing to humanity. You need to begin to find. I was talking about your trait. A trait right now in this era of COVID could be that you're going to have to restructure your corporate system in a way that you can actually have an online market where you can have an online system. You can learn things about search engine optimization. Let me take some trainings. We're going to be training people. We're going to be training people on how to develop their own website. We're going to train people on search engine optimization. We're going to train people on digital mapping. We're going to train people on neuro linguistic programming. Everything that's going to be important to growing your mind, we're going to have that. And by the way, about 2 new books are coming out, so I'm going to brag about that and talk about that very true on my social media page. So remember, write down 10, if you didn't hear anything, write down 10 things that are your strengths. Write them down. And please remember, the secret to the law of attraction where greatness is concerned. Let me tell you what happened. Several years ago, we have people like the Jim Rohn. You will never know where Jim Rohn actually appealed to someone like Anthony Robbins. So as I speak right now, there's somebody here where in the next 3 years, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, you're going to do something at the end of the day that the entire world would know. But that may be as a result of taking action, not listening. Don't just listen with your ears, listen with your hands. Tap things down on paper. I learned that from Mike Murdoch. Mentorship is not something that you should take casually. It's something that you really want to take very seriously. And as many people that are actually very, very interested, I am very available. I'm not going to be available for everybody because my time is very, very micromanaged. I'm going to be available for people that I believe you really have a reason for wanting to be great and not just the financial reason alone. So the next thing, please remember 4 quadrants. Write down your strengths, 10 things or 12 things about yourself that you qualify as strength. If you want to do, you can share that with me or I'll create that opportunity. Just get to my website, charles@charles.com.ng, and then you can send me things that you believe you want me to work towards with you. And if I'm not going to be available, I could recommend one of my books. If I can recommend one of my books, what I could do, I could introduce you to some of our courses, and then you could take some of those courses. And what I do in our course, I try to be very, very I try to be very realistic. I try to work with data. I like to make it practical. So I believe those are really going to help you. So please remember, 4 things are very important. Write down your strengths, write down your weaknesses, things that you feel are holding you back. I know somebody, I did this exercise very recently, and somebody wrote down weakness as lack of money. No, there's that, that is not a weakness. The lack of money has never been anybody's weakness. Um, Let me leave that there, but that was a bit funny. Lack of money is not a weakness. Everybody's looking for money. You need to find how to wire yourself. Find what is it you need. That's something you want to go read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. He talked about the hedge up concept, where he has, what can you be the best in, what can be your economic engine, and so many things. Those are things that we're also going to break down in the courses I'm going to talk. So everybody has the opportunity to make massive amount of money. It doesn't matter what you do right now. It doesn't matter where you are. You have the opportunity. I'm a billionaire in the making. So just follow me very strongly. Now, you don't want to hear about the story. You want to be with me now. So you have access to my social media pages, and then you also have an opportunity to actually relate based on a mentorship scale, on mentorship level, or a consultant for your company to train your staffs and whatever. So these are very important. So please remember, on my last words, remember this. Make it simple. Somebody say case, keep it simple, stupid. I think they remove the last S. Keep it simple. Make development, personal development, make it the simplest thing that you can do in your life. Okay, I'm going to be open about this. I think I'm going to be working with Onyeka, and I think I have about 2 other people that are lawyer mentees with me. I'm going to be working with them to to say I can give out free booklets on personal leadership, because leadership in our world and season now starts with leading yourself well. I have seen leaders, I've worked with leaders, I have come across so many leaders that they think leadership is about leading every other person. No, leadership is about leading yourself well. Until you can become a self leader, you're going to become a horrible leader of people. You're going to abuse people, and then you're going to forget that every human capacity you're privileged to get is a gift from God for you to actually take yourself to the next level. God marks the register. So whatever you do good for one person, He marks it. So don't just be involved with people on positional leadership skill, like John C. Maxwell would say. You must be involved with them on every level. It becomes very important. So those are the kind of people I want to work with. I am a bit free, so I'm going to be able to, everybody that's going to be available, you want to tell yourself, I want to become a self leader. I'm tired of finding everybody to lead me. I want to lead myself well. Then I think that can become a foundation for you to actually start that. I've been doing that for years. I'm an international certified coach, in personal effectiveness and business. So please, it becomes very important for you. You are the most important thing. You are the most important. You carry 4 generations. If you drop dead right now, do you know what you do? A generation has also died. So you may never know the worth you are in God's mind. But listen attentively to me. Wisdom is that you're able to find what is that thing you have within you and work towards it. Because I believe that you're placed on this earth for something greater than you have ever known, greater than your dreams. Your dream is not even the apex point. Your dream is just a starting point behind whatever God has as a plan for you. And a friend told me years ago, and it sounded strange, but it was very true. He said something. He said, Charles, the most important thing in life is not success. He said the most important thing in life is balance. Balance, The most important thing in life is not success. The most important thing is balance. And the most successful person in life, which is Solomon, King Solomon, you know what he did with women and so many other stuff. Yes, he got to that level, and he said, vanity upon vanity, all is vanity. So what am I trying to say? That Africans, if you listen to me, your problem is not finances. Your problem is not finances. Your problem is discovering your value. Is discovering your worth as an individual. The moment you discover your worth, guess what? Every community starts from a family unit. Every family unit starts from an individual. When you discover your worth, it's going to shine through to your family. And then from your family, it's going to shine through to your community. Now from your community, it's going to shine through to your nation. From your nation, it's going to shine through to your continent. And then that's actually how it got going every now and then. So remember, you have value beyond what you can ever think about. So all you just need to do, remember, you need to have this assignment. And please, be honest to yourself. Sit down, have a meeting with yourself. Say, hey, this is what I think. This is what we need to change. You are an organization, an industry in yourself. You are richer internally than the wealthiest person on the face of the earth right now. I'll say that again. You are richer internally than the wealthiest person on the face of the earth. This is the reason why Miles Monroe said something. He said, you find the greatest number of potentials in the graveyard. Now, some people just know about that quote on the surface level, but let me explain that to you. What that means basically is that there's a whole world bigger than the world you see externally within you. But only very few people ever lived in that world. They call it getting inside out. You need to find what you have. You need to let the world know about what you have. If what I'm doing right now is what you have, then this could be what you could do. So what am I trying to say? Every other person can play with the most important things in life, but not you. Not you. Why? Because there's a responsibility over your life, and that's something I got to learn recently, and it really was also a mind shift for me. When Eve ate that fruit, nothing happened, because the assignment was to the head. Until the head actually took it, nothing happened. And now, the reason that to explain your potential, let me switch it over to you. Your life is not a gift. Your life is a loan. If you call something like, if I give you a gift, what happens? I'm not going to come to you tomorrow and ask you to give me an account of the gift. It doesn't make any sense. So if you're going to leave this earth one day and then an account, like a bank account, an account is going to be demanded for the life you lived. Think about it. Is that really a gift? No. So it goes beyond the money you're looking for. It goes beyond the relevance you're looking for. It goes beyond the crowd and the popularity and every other thing you're looking for. It goes beyond all that. It goes into making sure that you are living a life of value. The moment people begin to respect you because of your bank account, then you're going down the ground. Because I learned something years ago also. The moment that bank account is gone, you're not going to find anybody around you. Because people are going to forcefully respect you because of the material things around you or what's around you. Never going to respect you for what is inside of you. So you have to develop that life of value. Go and do a self-audit on your association. The beginning of the year is very critical. That's why you actually is quite certain. Several churches also go into a period of prayer and fasting. Because people want to really be able to detox their body. They want to be able to detox their mind. They want to be able to detox themselves on those three critical levels, and that's actually very important. Last note, remember what I said. Go and find your S factor. The reason why you're writing those things down, you want to find your S. At this point, it's really been an honor hosting you. My name is Charles Masale, and I'm really very happy to be with you this very day, and this is what I do best. So please remember, you can hook up with me for my books and every other thing on my website. You can go to charles.com.ng, and wherever you want, you can also reach me through those links. And I'm also going to have my team also be able to also give us more value. As I did promise that those people that actually use the hashtag, I was going to personally have a time to personally coach people, a number of people throughout this week. So please, if you're one of those people that did that and maybe you don't get a message from us, please do contact me. You can just go to I think admin@charles.com, or you can just send through the number on my website, and I believe that they're going to reach out to me, and I will know that I owe you something. So please remember, you are a gift on earth. It doesn't matter what you have in your bank account right now. What matters most is that you are relevant to somebody out there, and somebody, a generation out there, even generations out on yet unborn, they are going to look up to to you, for the values that you can develop. And really, you're never wealthy. There's no wealthy person on the face of the earth. The wealthiest person on the face of the earth is the person that discovers his values and then also are able to sell them out, pour them out for people to see. So that becomes very important. So thank you very much, and do have a lovely evening.